Not that important. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. Rabbi Jenny Greenspan here at Congregation Beth-El for our last Friday evening Shabbat service of 2021. And tomorrow morning, we'll have our first Shabbat morning service of 2022. So, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. For those joining in person, we had our books at the back of the room. And for those joining us on live stream, if you aren't used to the routine by now, you can go over to beeasy613.org. And under the worship and Shabbat menus, you'll find our virtual resources, including a PDF of this evening's Sidur Kol HaNeshama, so that you can follow along with us as we have a peaceful and warm time together for our last Shabbat of the year. We will open with Shalom Aleichem on page 13, welcoming in the angels of Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchoni leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tzedchem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We turn back to page 5 as we welcome in the light of Shabbat with the blessing over our Shabbat candles. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, source of light, our God, sovereign of all worlds, who has made us holy with your mitzvot and commanded us to kindle the Shabbat light. This evening, I wanted to bring in a psalm we don't do as often, Psalm 99. On page 35, we'll do the concluding couple of verses of it. Exalt the name of the ineffable one. We think of the divine mount with Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, page 35 at the asterisk, the last two lines of the Hebrew. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. We turn to the concluding verses also of page 90 of Psalm 92 on page 51. The righteous shall flourish like the cedar in Lebanon. Tzadika tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizgeh shetulim beveit Adonai vechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yihu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo havlatavo. We turn now to page 41 for Lecha Dodi. As we say, "Come, my beloved, we welcome Shabbat as though Shabbat itself is a bride." Lecha Dodi. We'll do page 41 and 43, and then we will skip ahead to page 47. When we jump to page 47, I'll signal us to rise, and we'll welcome in the Shabbat bride through the doors or whatever space, doors or windows you'll welcome her in to from home. But we'll begin on page 41. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Shamor vezachor vedibor echad Hishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad ushemo echad L'shemo tiferet velitila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat Shabbat Penei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mekor habracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh v'machshavat chila Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Mikdash melech ir melucha Kumitzei mitocha hafecha Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha Vehu yachamol alayichem la Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Hitzna'ari me'afar kumi Livshi bigdei tifartecha mi Ahal yad ben Yishai beit halachmi Korva al nafshi ge'ala Lecha Dodi דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And as we are together, a small group here, a small group from home, but a strong community as we say goodbye to 2021, we also say how good it is to have found the times that we could to be together this year. I think 2021 taught us what a gift that was, and has come and gone and come again. And so we say, Hine matov umanayim, how good it is to be together. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. We'll remain standing for a moment longer as we turn to page 57. Baruch Hu, call to worship, linking together us here and us at home. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Join me in the English on page 60, the interpretive translation of our evening prayer, thanking God for the gift of the flow of time, of days, and of evenings. Page 60. Praised are you, God, ruler of the universe, who has ordained the rhythm of life. The day with its light calls to activity and exertion, but when the day wanes, when, with the setting of the sun, colors fade, we cease from our labors and welcome the tranquility of the night. The subdued light of the moon and stars, the darkness and the stillness about us invite rest and repose. Trustfully, we yield to the quiet of sleep, for we know that, while we are unaware of what goes on within and around us, our powers of body and mind are renewed. Therefore, at this evening hour, we seek composure of spirit. We give thanks for the day and its tasks, and for the night and its rest. Praised are you, God, who brings on the evening. We'll continue on page 63 with Ahavat Olam, introduction to the Shema. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shokveinu u'vekumenu nasiach bechukecha. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ועפתך לא תסור ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו Israel. Invite us to please rise if we are able as we turn to page 65 for the Shema and Be'ahavta, after which we'll have a moment to select a biblical passage on one of the following pages and rejoin together on page 73. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto L'Olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. והיה למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet. You may be seated, recognizing God's oneness and God's truth. We also recognize that no one is quite like the God who was able to bring us out of Egypt from bondage and into celebration. And so we turn to page 79 for Mi Chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehtar b'kodesh, nora tehilot tosef ele, nora tehilot tosef ele. Malechutecha ra'u v'necha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe, ze Elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Ve'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugialo miad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Our next prayer, Yehashkivenu, gives thanks for the shelter that we have on this world. So we take a moment to also think of those in our community who are in need of shelter, who are in need a little bit of healing. This week, as a community, we offer healing prayers to Shirley Steinman, to Larry Baker, Levi Chisholm, Brian Donor, Angela Fry, Amy Maurer-Martin, Lindsay Yagi, Jane Bashir, Aaron Greenwald, Terry Reed, Harav Tzivia Chana Batsara Uirachmiel Yosef, Evan Brancazio, Connie Smukler, Carol Auslander, Ron Schafrin, Lorraine Greenberg, Spencer Tu, Carl Goodfellow, Ariel Shoshana Bat Esther Zelda, Helene Waldman, Natalie Cahan, Rebecca Maccabee, Sue Baker, Karen Reisman, and Diane Marie Reisman. Any other names here in the room to bring in? And if you are joining from home and have any other names you want, I invite you to say them aloud now as we hold all of those names and all those in our hearts who can use some healing. As we do our Misha Berach prayers for those in person on the back of our pamphlet and for those online in our regular Shabbat song sheet. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always. Spread over us and all those in need of healing the shelter of your peace. Turn to page anticipation. We turn to page 85 for Veshamru. We read the biblical verses giving us this gift of Shabbat, this gift of not just an annual, like New Year's Eve, but the weekly gift of pause and thinking about the passage of time. I'll invite us to join on page 85 with Veshamru. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Meini uvein v'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise as we turn to page 87 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma diverach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, ve'chayechon uvyomechon ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ve'imru amen. We'll remain standing as we turn to our silent Amidah. If you'd like to use the words of tradition, they're from pages 88 through 91 as way of intro, and then continuing through page 106 in our Siddur, where I invite us this particular Shabbat to reflect on the year behind us, on its joyous moments, on its painful moments, above all, the moments in this past year that have brought us peace that we can hold on to in this Shabbat. We can hold on to Shabbat Shalom as we conclude 2021. Silent Amidah, page 88 through 106. Ose shalom imrama shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Let me be seated. I've been thinking a little bit in the last day or two about the correct greeting for this weekend. So what do we usually say? Well, in Hebrew, we would say Shana Tova, right? What do most of us, as we encounter throughout we say Happy New Year, as we're encountering most people as we go about our lives. I've been thinking about there's something different in those two greetings. So we think of Rosh Hashanah, the New Year by the Judaic calendar, which we begin in the Hebrew month of Tishrei, usually sometime in September. We say Shana Tova, but here when we end our secular, our Gregorian calendar, we say Happy New Year. We in Judaism have other holidays where we use the term happy. We say Chag Sameach. If it's Sukkot or Passover or even Hanukkah, it's Chag Urim Sameach. And yet on Rosh Hashanah, we don't say Shana Smecha. We say Shana Tova. And I think there's something profound in that, in thinking about it. I love the blessing and the goal of a happy and healthy New Year. And I think we all know that happiness, the moments of joy and the immediate euphoria, can sometimes feel fleeting, but the goodness that happiness can bring endures every other emotion that we can experience throughout a year. A year is a long time. It is a beautiful and blessed goal that we should all have, truly a happy full year ahead of 2022. But I hope that beyond just happy, that it's good, that we have moments, even in moments of pain and anxiety, we still are reaching for good, that we can feel what's good, that we can know what's good. When we are experiencing those moments of happiness, we know the goodness that has brought us those. So tonight, as I conclude our 2021, as we finish out, I do say Happy New Year to all of us. But I also say Shana Tova, and it goes to all of our community. May we have a happy and healthy year full of shalom and of tova, of peace and of goodness. And on that theme, I'd like to look back to page 105 for our song for inspiration this evening and do a Shalom Rav. May we have a great peace and a great goodness over all of Israel and all humanity in this coming year ahead. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. V'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam. Turn to page 115 for the Kaddish Shalem as we move toward the conclusion of our evening's service. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam me'amaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel shmei dekudesh abrichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushpechata v'nechmata da'amiran ve'elma ve'imeru amen. Tika baltzot hon uvautehon dechol Yisrael kodam avohon v'shmaya ve'imeru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imeru. Amen. Please rise as we turn to page 119 for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Give me 1 second to go run over and bring it back. Page 119. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav beratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu bacharta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Someone else want to say Hamotzi? Whoever touches the challah has to keep it. So. I guess I'm doing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
That would make Sid very happy. He always, before COVID, said, "Don't touch the challah."
Now you have to wait for me to. I will give you the moment to sit down while I finish chewing. Now we'll rise again and turn to page 121 for Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרה בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו, וגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. אמת מלכנו אפס עולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. I invite all who are mourning or observing yahrzeit to remain standing with me, because in reciting Mourner's Kaddish, we affirm our awareness of holiness in our world. Much of our experience of divine goodness, grace, and love has come to us through those whose lives have touched our own, and we invoke the transcendent power of love and caring as we sanctify God's name. This week, as a community, we extend sincere condolences to Deetra Perry Mills, Megan Clayton, Corey Mills, Jeremy Amico, Joseph Amico, Robert Ed Mills, Andrew Mills, and all of their families on the death of their beloved husband, father, stepfather, son, brother, and grandfather, Douglas Allen Mills. We also extend sincere sympathies to all families in our congregations still observing Shloshim, the first month after the loss of Ruth Coble Fogel, Sherman Jack Keller, Helen K. Smith, Alex Starr, Anne Melvina Lakin, and Roger Gordon Lord. All those who are in mourning and observing yahrzeit to join me in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 113. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, ve'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, va'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel ve'imru Amen. You may be seated. This evening I don't have so much in the way of announcements other than got a few more hours of this here. Thank you all so much for joining me, those here and those joining on the live stream for this final Friday evening service of 2021. You can join with us next year as early as 9 a.m. tomorrow by joining me on Torah Talk on Facebook Live at 9 a.m. and joining me here either in the Simon Sanctuary or on the live stream at 10 a.m. for our Shabbat morning service. Looking ahead, we have a few family social events that you can find in the pamphlet and on our website. And I encourage you to stay in touch with us as we enter our new secular year of 2022. May it indeed be both happy and good. And we'll conclude our evening service on page 133. You'll give me permission to attempt a melody that might work for this particular evening. I'm attempting it new, so you'll have to help out. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'Chefzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh v'tifara. Vehu echad ve'ein sheni, lehamshilo lehachbira. Beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo ha'oz ve'hamizra. Vehu eli v'chai goali v'tzorchev li v'etzara Vehu nisi umanos li menat kosi b'yom ekra Ve'ya'ado af kidruchi be'etishan ve'ahira Ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. Shabbat shalom, Shana Tova, Happy New Year. And we'll look forward to seeing you again very soon next year. Shabbat shalom.
So what do you mix when you're talking?
Just water.